so we're in here. Should probably be up here. Let's try this out, shall we? Okay, that didn't work for a second. Oh, no. Let's not do that. Okay. Oh. Okay. And I did do an in battle save. Right before that battle was started. So, if I'm honest, I should probably go back and buy some gear. Let's see. That works. And I'm just out of range of the archers too. Hopefully I do not have audio issues this time. Talk about the golems. And this will make this a lot better than getting poisoned like last time. And immediately having my healer bodied. can't reach him, but that's fine. I'll just heal him. You can't get attacked 4 times, but hopefully that doesn't happen. No, that works. Can't listen anyways. Let's do that. Right. This is a lot cleaner of a battle. Alright, so with Kira, it can be easy to forget that she's there. So, it's a good idea to move with her first. And you're generally just going to have to take on the 2 bats. So let's see. He's fine. He's not fine. So I will pop this one. And just like that, a nice, clean battle. So now I just have these 5 left, and everybody's safe from the bridge. Keep on doing that. Saki, don't even start. And you got Ashley going too now? But actually, since you're present, Ashley, I'll probably just start talking about the Twitter stuff directly after this battle. And the battle's almost finished. Now, Saki, you telling me you didn't influence Ashley at all? Like, is that what you're telling me? Oh, I got Ice Storm. I didn't know I had Ice Storm already. So that is good. That is his attack spell. Doesn't have great range, but it's a good way to like get an attack off with Ash without getting counterattacked. I don't really want to move Clint to get surrounded, even though there's only 3 of those dudes left. And the reason why I like this part is the way it is on the battlefield is so you can just like take pot shots from here with Kira as opposed to like trying to follow up and not being able to attack with her. So, like, yeah, see. I have pretty much a clean line to that, so I'm just going to move Clint over to protect my mage, and they're all protected from the bridge, so that's it. Oh, before I continue, am I having that audio issue that was present last time? Okay, cool. I don't know what that was. Which is a good thing I don't have it because I don't know how to fix it either. So as you can see, my hero character is able to do a lot of damage. And that's one thing that some people like have issues with in tactics games is generally your heroes are not going to be trash characters. They're going to be fairly strong, but a lot of people like to keep them in the back because if they get knocked out, then you end up losing the battle, but that also leaves you with a was generally in almost any tactics or strategy game like this, like no worse than like your 3rd or 4th best character potentially being severely under leveled. And that's worse than occasionally losing the battle. So now I'm just doing a few extra actions to kind of even out the experience. and she's low 8 now, so everybody's minimum level 8, I believe. So I'm in a good spot. So another question: do you want me to? Because, like I said, I kind of want to talk about some of the moves going on with Twitter. Should I stop the game and just talk about Twitter, or talk about Twitter while I'm playing the game? I don't know what you're talking about, Ashley. And yeah, we can use another archer. I don't think I've ever said a negative responses in this. Clinton being the voice of reason. Well, this is probably going to be more interesting if I'm talking about it in while the battle is going versus just looking at dry articles or the desktop. So, um, I'll direct the question to you, Ashley. Like, how familiar are you with what's been going on with Twitter over the duration of Elon's stewardship? Ark, thanks for the raid. Appreciate it. Coming in here heavy with the guns, though. This is a fantasy game. There are no. Well, no, actually, I'll be lying if I said there were no guns. There are guns, but not now. Oh, yeah, the hand cannon emote. Ark, have you played? I know you've played Final Fantasy Tactics, as we talked about that. Have you played Banner Hearts before? I can't remember if you have. Saki tax. What the hell is a Saki tax? And Salala got herself. This test stream, Salila, is me testing whether or not I am going to stream in general, and also seeing how they actually work. Um, and testing the audio because there was an audio issue last time. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, so you haven't played Vandal Hearts. So then I'll continue with the game while I'm talking about like Twitter. So Shining the Holy Ark is actually something that I have wanted to play like for a long time. Um, Even though it has a bit of a let's say an encounter rate issue, but it's still they're also like tethered to certain spots, so it's not terrible. Soccer will let you know, but if you had to ask, we may have the same collections. Ain't nobody collecting shit around here, bro. Oh yeah, the Hidden Fairies and Shining the Holy Ark is insane. Like that is one thing that kind of drags the game from what I've seen is you basically have to check every wall, every like surface that you can check in that game for the the fairies. And I don't even know if you would chance across them at all if you didn't happen to just randomly check stuff. Oh, so that is just like the day bed. So if I want to not be in my bedroom, but still kind of like have a place to relax and like it'd probably be like throwing on a movie or throw on the stream or something like that. Um, or watch the World Cup. I can kind of do that here and not like close myself away in my room. So I'll do a brief recap to this point. It's still like super early in the game, so there isn't really much missing. Yes, this is PS1. This was 96, 97 maybe? And it's very much similar to Final Fantasy Tactics in terms of like the story and obviously the way the game is played. Just a very less intricate version. Yes, Saki. Saki, if you're about to say I should be reading all this, because I feel like that's what you're about to say. No, I'm not skipping over your messages, Saki. Oh my god. Oh, full screen, please. It is full screen. Greet your subjects. I'm not the one that's a international trap queen, Saki. I have no subjects. Oh, full screen the camera. Are you saying to greet the raid? Yeah, I think it's Konami. Let me look it up. I don't have a raid greeting, Saki. We're it's basic business around here. That's why it's a test stream. And also, nobody needs to see my face that up close. Yeah, Konami, and this was spring of '97 is when it came out, U.S. in fall of '96 in Japan. All right, so then, since Saki insists, for anybody that is unfamiliar with me, you can call me DB. Most people do. Um, I'm kind of testing out streaming to see about a few things. My primary goal is actually to talk about finance and economics in a way that's informative, not really to influence people, but to make them aware of like the mechanisms that are moving in their general lives that they might not be aware of and how it can affect them. Besides that, I'll probably be playing a few games. I'll probably occasionally be practicing guitar or just be drawing, and at Ashley's insistence, I might be doing the cooking stream at some point. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about that later. But besides that, I am just here kind of hanging out. Oh, and by the way, anything I say that is in the wheelhouse of finance or economics is not to be taken as advice, but me just sharing an opinion or following a thread. So I am not a financial advisor, even though I work in finance. I'm not licensed as a financial advisor, so we're going to have to put a disclaimer about that up at some point. But there it is in verbal form. Me? No. I have not thought about that at all. No, actually, I have been wanting to see a voice coach just to like improve my voice. But quick recap on the game thus far. We are Ash, and he is a soldier in a domestic security force. Basically, like a think of it as like an offshoot of the army, or like the National Guard for people from the U.S. What's happened is there was a conflict with some rebels, for lack of a better term, but a small band of like disenfranchised nobles. We went in to arrest them, and then the actual army, the Crimson Guard, came in and slaughtered them and provoked a conflict with us. So as a quote-unquote punishment, we were sent to this place called Gilberus Island to find a general that may be helping the leader of the Crimson Guard plan a coup. He's who you see in the first cutscene getting doused in a bright shining light, and since we've been here, we're just trying to follow up and find out where he is. Oh no, you're good. You're good, Ark. Appreciate the raid. Thank you for coming to check out my non-TED talk. So we just finished a fourth battle, I think, of the game, and picked up another archer named Kira, who is a pretty solid companion. And now we're continuing the story. So besides, and who made the babyface phone comment? Wasn't that Salila? So Saki, was that a good enough intro for you? Good enough spiel? So, in lieu of reading the text on screen, which I'll scroll a little slower so people can see what's being said, I'm going to kind of discuss like the whole Twitter thing, because that's something I've talked about with a couple people, and I've been wanting to talk about why it seems very erratic. You called me a babyface mofo. That's why your name came up. But I want to talk about why his moves seem erratic and what they could actually be leading to. Though I'm also not saying I know like the direction that he's going to take, but just what it seems. So obviously we're all aware at this point that Twitter was bought for $44 billion, which is an astronomical sum of money. And since then, we've heard like that half the Twitter workforce has been fired, another half of a half has quit, and there's been all these interesting, for lack of a better term, directives from Elon. Well, yeah, but I'm just like, those parts aren't necessarily important, but they'll probably come around later. But he's been doing a whole lot of weird things with Twitter, like, you know, about Twitter Blue or whatever he decides to call it at this point, the service where he's going to charge for verified accounts, and how that's proven to be not the best idea in the world. And some other things that have come up in news have been that he like cut the lunches over at what? Nice quality can change now. Had lies the what? Oh, there's quality options. Oh, that's nice. Um, Surprised you still log on to Twitter. Yeah, well, it's kind of the thinking that people aren't really considering maintenance of Twitter, rather than the fact that, oh, if I fire all these people and it still works tomorrow, everything must be fine. Like, that's not necessarily how you maintain a website that size. And just, you might have, is there potential for having been overstaffed? Obviously, that can happen anywhere, but it's kind of better to be overstaffed than something that size. But he's like, all those people are gone. He's done things like he's cut the lunches at the Twitter HQ in San Francisco, and it seems very kind of nickel and dime moves. So yeah, like that, like he's cutting background services. So you have to kind of ask the question, like, if you're looking at it from the perspective of acquiring a business and you want to break even at some point to make it worth it, you usually want to do that in a timely fashion. So how are you going to make $44 billion back to break even? Or if we're just talking about servicing the debt, I've seen numbers thrown around like somewhere between 12 and 18 billion in terms of lending. Because you also have to keep in mind that it is not just Elon. His name is just on the forefront of this, whether purposeful or not, which you have to think is purposeful, but it's a consortium of people that have purchased Twitter. And exactly $1 billion a year in debt to service. $1 billion is, even though there is billionaires more present now than we would generally know of in recorded history, $1 billion is a lot to make in a single year, in excess of Twitter's past revenues, whatever they were. Like, even just $1 billion by itself is a lot to come up with. So, why all these nickel and dime moves? Yeah, Saki? Sorry, I wasn't scrolling the game. Well, I mean, I am kind of playing the game, so. But I guess I could be. I'm playing the game at the same time, though. But here, I'll tell you what. No, actually, I wouldn't do that. No, I'll just be sure to not not stick on the game. But that is the thing. $1 billion is a lot to come up with in a year. The the moves, if you look at what he's doing, it seems reminiscent of a private equity investor. Generally, and I'll explain what private equity does for people that are unaware. And generally, what private equity does is it is a group of people that purchase a company that seems to be on the downslope. Exactly. Like you'll purchase it, you'll sell off items. You're basically making a bet that the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. So you'll usually sell off things or you'll cut services. You'll slowly take it apart piece by piece, and then you intend to sell it off for ideally some kind of profit once you aggregate that with the sum of everything that you sold off before. Or I guess if you're in a cost cutting sense, how much you've saved before. The problem is that I don't know that anybody's going to pay that kind of money for it. Because most people feel like Elon overpaid for Twitter, obviously. $44 billion is a lot. Well, that's one word for it, but I'm trying to be relatively objective. Though technically, I guess you could say that is an objective term considering the situation. So let's go to the tavern first. Actually, oh, now I'm locked in. Here we go. So you have to ask, like, all right, and if this is a private equity move, how are you going to come up with $44 billion? And more to the point, if all these moves that are trying to generate enough revenue in excess of what Twitter made before to not only turn it profitable, but to bring back $1 billion a year, if those don't work, how are you going to service those loans? And at that point, you might be looking at a cash infusion, which could be coming from something like Tesla. So, in a way, what Elon is doing can, over a period of years, put Tesla at risk if he's one of the people that decides to do the cash infusions to keep it going, assuming that that's going to be what happens in any regard. So, now, if you're taking cash out of Tesla and you're trying to dump it into Twitter for whatever reason, or just dumping into servicing the debt, how does that affect Tesla and how does that affect SpaceX? Because that kind of takes the shine off of Elon more so than already has been. Because then it just seems like, oh, hey, now if you're sitting here and you're say whatever you will about Twitter, it was at least functional before. Now you're presiding over the collapse of Twitter, and now you're also potentially going to have a damaging effect on Tesla and perhaps SpaceX. If we're talking about it just in terms of stock price, if you're not familiar with it, people can underestimate how much the perception of an executive and their decisions can cause the company to lose a lot of money just off their stock value. And sometimes they can gain a boost just off their stock value, like in faith or lack thereof of the executive making decisions. Well, that's kind of the thing, Ghost, is like he was waffling about it so much, going back and forth, and he kind of he bought too much of his own press. He played himself into his own ego, and if I recall correctly, there was a situation where Twitter was going to sue him before he finally got to the point of having to buy it, because it was like, okay, now you've been affecting our perception as a company and making us less valuable by calling into question these things that may or may not be true, but you're not doing you're not doing it behind closed doors in terms of doing due diligence. Now you're just kind of throwing stuff out there. That's yeah, exactly. Or he ran his mouth too much and locked himself into a situation. And I think he just was feeling himself a little too much because he liked being able to have, at least it seemed to be to me anyways, he liked being able to have an effect on markets like Dogecoin. He liked being able to say just random stuff like that, or chime in about the GameStop thing, say stuff like stonks, and have people say, "Oh, Elon noticed this. Let's buy more of it." And people really didn't take into account that this dude is kind of just wanting to live off of and a feeling of like popularity that seems to come from Arrested Development, at least in terms of that. So, and now you have to think about it in terms of competitors too, because competitors, none of this is happening in a vacuum. So obviously, Facebook is a competitor. Facebook Meta, whatever you want to call it. Instagram, offshoot of Facebook. Tumblr is kind of reviving itself. Hive is something relatively new that I think it was Kitty Big Games who first mentioned it. I saw and I looked into it a bit, and it's has a UI that's similar to Twitter. So you have all this direct competition that are going to be making moves to also supplant you. And wait, does she have? I think she has a light. Yeah, she has a light glow too. So you have to wonder, like, all right, is he even going to be able to? If he was going to have difficulty servicing just the debt in the vacuum, how is that going to work with all these competitors at the same time? And then more to the point, beyond that, you're not just talking about competitors in the social media space. Tesla and its vehicles have had a documented history of issues, and now you have more electric vehicles coming along. As far as Ford, Chevy, so and these are more reputable car manufacturers. So now, is that also going to be an issue where not only are you losing ground on the social media front because you just can't keep your thoughts to yourself for whatever reason, are you also going to be losing ground on what should be your baby, Tesla, because now you have to focus on this whole other thing. You have to focus on, excuse me, Twitter. And in doing so, you might be doing damage to Tesla long term. And then there's SpaceX, which SpaceX also kind of shows itself as a mirror to Elon and his issues with criticism, because there was like 9 or 10 employees that were recently fired from a SpaceX facility because they like penned an open letter criticizing Elon. So he's developed himself an enormous amount of problems in a short period of time, and they seem to mostly stem from his ego. I'll just carry the one, and I think I have 2 elixirs. Yeah, I have 2 elixirs, so that'll be good. Sorry, let me scroll back up and see if I was missing anything. And to the point you made earlier, Ghost Polly, about like the relative ease in which he bought a major media platform. At this point, it's just, I would say it's kind of just a thing with the U.S., but at least in terms of like the board and the shareholders of Twitter beforehand, they at least were in a position to not necessarily have to negotiate after the legal aspect that was started to become apparent because of Elon talking. Because for them, they did their job. They're supposed to steward the company to being as profitable as it can, and you're not going to get much more profitable than some egomaniac spotting off and putting himself in a corner to where he has to give you $44 billion. So, like, I'm sure on their end, they wanted to expedite the deal once it got to that point as quickly as possible. And to your point, Ark, about like having to clean up after Elon, it's almost like, quite honestly, it's almost like a bit of a puppet on a string thing. Like, you can't be this perfectly distracting at all times. Like, and I'm not discounting him being intelligent or anything like that, but like, there has to be somebody that is very much purposefully not exposing themselves to the criticism and letting Elon and his ego do its thing. But it's an interesting thing to think about because it seems like I waver between the two. I waver between it being him and his ego and somebody else being like, look, I want to develop all this ability to own all this stuff. I just don't want the smoke that comes with it. And if you want it, so much the better. Honestly, I can't speak to whether or not you should delete your Twitter account. Obviously, like the only thing I would say is that if given the opportunity to pay whatever verification fee, like no, that's of no interest to me. And I don't necessarily, okay, I get it. In some ways, I do see why people want to do it, but at the same time, what does Twitter offer people? And what Twitter offers people is access effectively to what should be verified accounts, like Kim Kardashian or Kohl's or McDonald's or whatever. It gives you like another way of accessing this entity officially. So, in essence, those are the product. But if you're then charging that person that is the product to be there, if you're making like tons of money and you're not going to notice, okay, I get that. You're just like, whatever, just do it. But at the same time, part of me would be like, you're charging me for the ability of people to have access to me. And you're not the only social media company that exists. So why would I pay you for a non-unique experience? And so, like, that's kind of how I see that whole situation, is that all these things he's doing are not going to necessarily make him whole in the sense of just even being able to service the debt. And definitely not break even from the initial purchase. We're not even talking about taking time value of money into account. So yeah, there's a lot of questions around what does this mean for the future of Twitter. Are they going to basically break it down piece by piece and try to sell it off for pennies on the dollar? Is there some other plan that he has for it? And either way, what does this mean for Tesla and SpaceX and whatever other companies? And especially since there's also kind of an impending tech bubble going on, because there's been a lot of tech, social media tech, I should say, companies that have been dumping a lot of employees, and their value has been slowly trickling downwards. And also, like, that's kind of the thing, Brother Ninja, like SpaceX, it's kind of gone around and inflated some of the value. So like they put a SpaceX launch facility in Brownsville, Texas. That's south near the border, near the Mexican border, and it inflated the prices of homes there drastically because of all of the publication that Elon gets. And yeah, some people are working there, but now if SpaceX, as a consequence of this whole Twitter thing, has a little bit of a dip into a crater, how does that affect people in a place like Brownsville? Like, are their property values suddenly going to drop if a facility like that goes defunct? And are all these people going to have underwater mortgages if they had bought a house since he announced that he was establishing the facility there? Like, this is not only a macro issue, but it can get down to affecting small towns and individuals depending on their situation. Or like every year talk about it, Tesla moving their headquarters to Austin because they're doing like that super factory there or what have you. How does that affect people if he has to at some point pull money out of Tesla? Like there's a whole slew of decision trees that are coming from this. And that's what kind of interests me is like not only from the macroeconomic standpoint, but also like the stories that individual people have and not just like letting individual people fall by the wayside. And that was something that I had thought about at the beginning of like the whole COVID situation as well. Like there's the stock market is going up, and some people are saying the economy is fine, but then if you talk to individual people, depending on their situation, they're like, "Yo, life is hard. It sucks. I'm struggling. Like I don't see how I get out of this issue or this situation." You talking to the wrong person, Grant. That is Saki that owns Teslas because she's too smart to buy into the company itself, but she just has some on back order to sell. So let's go back to the tavern. I don't know, can't go back to. But there is, if I remember right, there is an item we can pick up on this map. That's one of the items we need to be able to do the first trial that leads to the most broken class that I've talked about in the game and in video games overall, arguably. Excuse me. So this can be kind of, switching back to the game itself, this can be kind of a bitch of a fight. Yeah, I need to grab some water. I'll do it on the Antlion's turn. Okay, let me see. this battle? Thought it was. Oh, that's the swamp battle I'm thinking of. The antlion one does not have an item. So for people unfamiliar with it, I'll discuss what I'm talking about. There are items that you can pick up on battle maps, and they're usually designated by like just a tile that looks a little bit off. What these items do can have a variety of purposes. Some of them are single-use items, some of them are weapons. The best ones are actually really innocuous items that are just random. And what they do is they give you access to something called the Tribes of Taroa. And with that, you actually get a special class for your hero that is absurdly broken. So I'm making sure that I'm not missing any of those. But I don't think there are. Oh no, I just have to talk to the woman and then I get a key. But I saved anyway, so we should be fine. So, let's see. So, since this ant has a fish symbol, this is effectively a monk class. I think this is armor class, yep. So magic will be useful on the head, and these are just fairly strong all around. But they also have a lot of movement space, as you can see. And the death ant itself makes it a little bit difficult because anywhere it goes, it automatically creates elevation, which means your characters move slower to get to it. So I want to see if I can take one of these arms out. There we go. What's up, Bismuth? No, this is Vandal Hearts. It's a PS1 tactics game that came out a little bit before Final Fantasy Tactics, and it's similar in tone. But without being quite as nuanced. So it's a good like entry point if you want to play a tactics game. So I'm gonna go grab some water. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The spawning arms. Oh, he already came at me. It's kind of the problem with the Death Ant is it can do a massive amount of damage. I think looks like Clint's the only one that's taking a hit, so that's good. And you really don't get a whole lot of money for the arms. I think you get like 10 a piece. Can't remember. Can I spellbind the head? So really, I'm just going to look to take out the head as quickly as possible. And save myself the hassle. Or I would if I can actually hit it. That'd be nice. Yeah. Let's go ahead and have you attack. So for this battle, I actually do kind of want to keep Ash away from it, just because with their movement space, I don't want to expose him to like taking a hit and then getting killed next. Or at the very least, I don't want to do direct damage. I would rather do spells with Ash. And since Clayton doesn't have a spell item, I'm just going to have it face it and take a little pressure off of Ash. And that's why you don't like to mess with the arms, because they can also paralyze. But I think we should be clear after this turn. Yeah, because they can't reach Clint, and I don't think the head can get to Diego. So we should be able to get this through this with no deaths. Honestly, Bismuth, I didn't even know what that effect was. I'm glad you can appreciate it, though. And that's really all we need, because like I said, the arms only give you, I think, 10 or 20 per. Not worth potentially losing people that would cost more. So I believe the next fight is the last of this chapter. So that might be where we ended. Maybe I'll do the battle after. The battle after this next fight, though, was kind of a bitch, if I'm being honest. So now we have Grog. He is another swordsman like Clint. And he's actually pretty freaking strong. So that's another great addition to the party. But before we do anything, we need to make sure we come talk to this woman. So for getting rid of the antlion, we got the Key of Nova, and that is the first key that lets you take the trials. So you definitely want to make sure if you can go back into a town, you always go back to the shop and talk to people and see if they respond to anything that you've done or found recently. Come on, going down there. I don't think she said anything else. Yeah. No, actually, I might do this battle and then the trial as opposed to... Actually, no, I would have to go directly into a battle after this. And you start chapter 2 off with the battle. Let's double check Grog's equipment. And even the UI with the game is pretty friendly, so it makes it pretty easy to see if like you need something or not. I think Ash can actually use this. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. And this is just so Growler doesn't immediately get murked. And then the battle after this has a few items to pick up, so I do not want to get an item for him. So, especially since we got the key, I'm going to save that. And since we're equipped, and now we will leave town. And that's the next battle. Like, and this is kind of one of those things I was saying, you always just want to double check that you can go back anytime you still have access to a town. It really makes more, it's of more points past this point, but just getting in the habit of doing it is the best course of action. I guess I should go more that way. Oh, I actually really like this song too. How's the music been? Have you been able to hear music, or should I turn that higher? Oh, sorry about that. Got kind of caught up in the discussion. How's it now? That's good. I forgot all about it, talking about Twitter and tumbling the blocks. But there wasn't really any great song that was missed beforehand. I think this is actually one of the better ones of this chapter. So I started out talking big shit. But this is actually a fairly easy battle to control. Because as you can see, there's only 2 pathways by which they can travel. And I don't believe there's an item to pick up here. Check. No, this is just straight up fight. So set up shop. Here. I remember like Grog has pretty good defense, so he's a little bit better equipped to be able to just sit there and take the hits. And then we give him some magic support. And have our original trio go to one side. And then we just keep our healer in the middle. I will admit that Hassan, the big dude, has one of the better attack animations in the game. It's actually downright disrespectful. Purposefully so. So this is also a place where Ash gets a lot of benefit from his talent pool as a hero, because I can basically blast them with magic and save the chances of a counterattack happening. Another thing for people that did just join with the raid from earlier is, if a character can counterattack you, they will counterattack both ways. So our side and their side will always counterattack if they can reach the person to do a counterattack. He still has plenty of life. He's hurting a little bit. So you always have to factor that in with your action, is whether or not you're going to actually kill the person you're attacking, and how much damage they're going to do to you on a counterattack, plus how much damage they're going to do to you on their turn. Ghost Pilot, is it doing that, since I turned it up, is it doing that audio doubling thing that it did last time? See, I go what space. Alright, dope. Thank you. And I can get Clint a little action to make sure Ash isn't taking all of it. Because Ash can also self-heal, so I can swap him back out. And I'm still only going to get hit by this dude. If I kill him, maybe another one. And then one or two of the archers. No, they're probably going to go for Ash since he's still available. I have no idea. It wasn't happening when I started this time, so I am just taking that as a dub and moving on until I figure it out later. Oh, so they are going after Clint. So he might actually be dropped. Yep. So we lost Clint, so that makes us a little more vulnerable on this side. thankfully it's really just archers. Let me see what is their attack range. So I'll stay in ground and I'll drop a heal. And if it really worst comes to worst, Diego has a fire gem that can hit multiple people, so I'll just let them line up and drop that on them because it doesn't really get much use past a battle or two past this anyways. He's blocking a whole lot of attack stuff. So, let's get rid of him, just so he doesn't keep on doing that. Do another heal. I probably should have cast Mystic Shield earlier since it's a defensive buff, but like I said, the game's pretty forgiving, so all we're going to really lose from that is Clint missing out on a little bit of experience, which we can make up on, and like 100, not even 100, I think he's level 8, so $80 from the battle itself. And though not as advanced as a game like Final Fantasy Tactics, usually the AI is pretty smart about like maximizing the number of people that can hit you in any given turn. So we're going to heal again with Ash. And since I don't want to drag this fight out, I'm going to see if I can hit all three with the fire gem, which I can. And that automatically makes them soft targets for Ash to mop up. Because there is, when we noted earlier in the first stream of this, is there is a triangle of attacking that occurs. So bows are good against flyers, flyers are good against swordsmen, swordsmen are good against bows. I think she has the other fire gem. No, she has a mage oil. So here's so Huxley can still move. So we'll start to clean up on this side too. check to make sure Ash is good. Yep. It doesn't really need a heal, so let me see how much Mystic Shield. Yeah, I'm going Mystic Shield instead. So he'll be borderline, but he should still survive because he won't be able to counterattack enough to kill either of the Buccaneers. Oh, and also before I forget, since I already said that most of what I want to do is talk about financial and economic topics, just to discuss them for people that might not be sure what they mean. I am inviting anybody, if they come across an article that they find interesting or a series of articles that they want to discuss and try to decipher, feel free to send those to me and they'll be a topic of discussion. Otherwise, I'll just probably generally talk about something that I found interesting in some way, shape, or form. And like I said, Twitter was one that I found interesting just because of the potential domino effect of all the decisions. And I know Saki's probably looking at me saying, "You need to get a new chair." Yeah, I need to get an office share anyways. So, you are not wrong. So for now, I'll stay in the same position. I'm about 3 inches shorter than you, Ghost Pilot. I'm like just over 6'4". It's the hair. The hair makes me look taller than I am. Alright, the angle should be fine to survive 2 archer hits. And Gog has shield. Yeah, Salila the hair. Which appreciate that, by the way. If you have questions about hair, you should ask Salila. Salila and Saki gave me a whole bunch of tips. I think just as well gave me a whole bunch of advice regarding hair. Seems to be doing alright. Haven't had any outstanding issues with it. Alright, so what I want to do now is I want to do that. Yes, I did get water test. Secret Rocket Lab XL 2020 as your chair. What I want to do? They did not target Diego. So what I'll do here is try to clear up this guy. Have one last fairy light. Corsair is gonna come in close range attack, but he won't be able to kill Ash. Those two will also target him. So I need Kira and Eleni to clean these guys up. So that Grog isn't taking damage. I don't think I can reach it from there. No, I can't. But Grog should be able to one-shot him at 20 health. There we go. So since those two can take out this guy without any trouble, I'm actually going to pull her over here. In part to help with damage and also because she has a healing nerve just in case I need it for Ash or Diego. Wait, what the hell is that? Damn. You ain't kidding. That's long. What's up, Snipies? Yes, this is Vandal Hearts. We are at the battle at the end of Chapter 1. So I think he hit Grog. I wasn't watching. Alright. He did hit Grog, so I really don't feel like chasing them into the boss, so what I'm going to do is just pull these back. And I have her drop an herb on him. I'm assuming you're a Vandal Hearts fan, Snipey. And also, that's another good thing with using herbs to heal, just that one difference in level. And also the amount of health that it healed helped cause a massive boost of experience. Actually, I'll say the same thing, Snipey. Like, the story is about as good as tactics. The gameplay is not as intricate, but it's still pretty good, and also has the special class, the Vandalier. But it's also a lot more, I don't want to say like beginner friendly, but it's a lot easier to just like dive into. You don't have to worry about it as much, or as intricate a number of systems as you have to with Final Fantasy Tactics. Alright, I'm gonna heal Diego. Because Grog will be fine, and that archer cannot reach him from there anyway, so he's gonna have to come across. Oh, I'm out of healing. I have an item for it. So we should be fine at this point. We might lose another person, but we're not gonna lose the fight. What's going on, Abandon? This looks like a Bizarro Shining Force 3. This is Vandal Hearts. It's a PS1 tactics game that came out just before Final Fantasy Tactics did. It came out spring of '97 in the US. It's consistently blocking those hits. I knew how to earn with that, so at least that's good. And Hassan started moving. See, even that's a improvement from tactics. Like I was able to move and almost initiate an attack, but instead I can just say, "Oh no, I'm gonna do something else," and I was able to come all the way back to a whole different person and not lose the turn with Grog. So there's like little quality of life bits that this game does have. Alright, how much magic? She still has plenty of magic. So I am going to have her come back over to set up behind here. I think Kira has a nerve. She knows if I need to heal. I could probably use the mage oil. In fact, just in case I decide not to. Or I decide to go back and do it. I could probably use the mage oil on Huxley just so I can have my healer set to heal, but I don't think I need it. And more to the point, I think it's kind of costly at this point. So I'm going to just have her come back and be ready to cast spells. He's going to get hit by Hassan on one turn. Have him pull back, have her drop an herb, have her come and do a spell, and these guys will loop around his backside. They like the level design of Vandal Hearts. And that's what I was talking about with his disrespectful attack animation. He spits before he attacks every single time. Actually, do I have an herb with him? Oh no, I have an elixir. So he has enough to take 2 or 3 attacks. Before he really has to worry about his health. Oh, really 2 attacks. But since I have my mage right here just blasting him from the side, and since I also have an archer behind, he's going to go down pretty quickly. So this battle is pretty much already over. But for appearance sake, we'll just pretend to loop around. Oh, he's pulling back. I forgot he can heal. So then instead is, let's see, you move enough to attack. So let's see which way he comes. So let's see which way he moves. Now he's coming right back into that. He really wants to go after Grog. So now that we have our archer available to attack and not just heal, oh, we have Piercing Ray now. I don't remember if Piercing Ray does more than Dark Star. But just in case I need to chase him down a little bit, I'll do Dark Star for now, since Piercing Ray has more of a range to it. See you later, Jess. And that's the battle. So yeah, we just lost like not even 100 for Clayton going down. So it's not quite as punishing as other games. And come to find out, Hassan is actually Grog's brother. Ever since we were kids, I was always trying to catch up to you. Always trying to be stronger, tougher than you. For a while, I thought I had passed you. But I was just a filthy pirate. I'm sorry for what I did to your friends. It's okay now. Try to relax. I wish I could go back and do it over again. I just got tired of chasing you. Goodbye. And yeah, his little brother went and killed all his friends to prove he was stronger. Interesting familial bond there, but I guess there's worse. Game of Thrones does exist. And Grog gets over it pretty quickly. So, happy ending. Alright, this should be narrated, so at least I think it is, can't remember. Yeah.
Gilbaris Island.
Let me know if you can hear it.
Over the centuries, this tiny island in the Gadar Sea has given rise to numerous myths and legends. It is called the Island of Ancient Mysteries and has been the subject of much speculation over the years. It is the island of General Magnus's disappearance, and it is here that Ash and his companions now venture.
Good. So here is the thing. You automatically get dropped into a battle. Here we are, the island's only city. It's like even deep lurking too. But there's something wrong with this place. All the people are green. Interlopers are here. Kill the interlopers. Kill them. Kill them all. Not exactly what I call a warm reception, that's right. An evil and malicious force coming from those statues. You don't want to be on deck to see your employees work, Saki? I can't remember. I think this might be the case, but I need to double check. So, like it said, you need to destroy all these statues. But if you recall, I also talked about those spots where hidden items are. You have one here. There's another one. The statues are also pretty weak. They usually just go down in one hit. I thought there was two. Is there two or just the one? Yeah, there's two. Where is the other one? It's back here. Oh, right here. So this one is a little bit tricky because you're going to want to kick the box to dissuade them from coming up this way. So the way to do it without killing anybody, and let me save. Actually, I think the statues do attack you too. I think they have piercing light. Yep. So you want to take out this one with an archer. You're going to have some people come this way. Some people come this way. You want to let them get to right here. Then block them off. Quickly kick the box down. Take this one out on the way. Loop over here. Kick these boxes over to here and leave one here. Well, actually, you're going to kick one over. This go over, this will fall down, then kick this one down. That blocks them from coming up. And you want to leave it open so they try to come over here to get to you. Make sure you get this on the way when you're coming this way. Right, see you later, Solana. Thanks for stopping in. And then whenever they all loop around, I'm going to quickly run and get this and this. It can be tricky to like get through, but at least we'll start it off. I don't think I can hit from here though. Oh, I can. I forgot. So the 1 HP, of course, and then the level right after. The good thing is I'm far enough away that like the villagers can't get to me, and I don't think the spell can reach. So it's not really going to hurt us too much to have her stay there an extra turn. You do lose money for every villager you kill, and I think you lose access to some of the people in town if you do, but I can't remember. I haven't played this in a while. A long time. The good thing is the statues, if I remember, I cannot block, so at least there's that. And as you can see, we need to kind of race over here. Did not mean to move Diego, but that's fine. See, and next turn, they can already come up on the platform, so Ash has to make sure that he gets here to push it and block them off. Grog should be able to get to the statue and get rid of it so we don't get hit. And thankfully Kira has a pretty good movement range, so she's not going to be too far behind. Double check that we're not forgetting anything. And we're going to kind of wait till the last second, because we want these guys to loop around. And we're going to grab this and then kick the box back into the way, so it also kind of slows down how many of them can come this way. Let me make sure I move everybody. I'm not sure if Diego can hit the statue from here, but obviously I'm going to take a look and see. But I'm pretty sure it's too far. Yep. And then if you go right next to it, can't do it at all. And you still want to get everybody pretty tight in here. And if you can, you want to get everybody within 2 spaces of the block being right here. So even though Ash is still 2 spaces, they're just moving over here to get the extra space for Kira and Eleni to be as close as possible. The first part is really kind of the tightest part because they are going to be like within a couple of spaces of your people while you're like maneuvering past this box. So that's as far as like just not killing the villagers. That's really the time where you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is a little sketch. I'll move here just to clear a little bit extra space and let her get set up so on the next turn she's in with the group. So we should be able to do, you want to wait till these guys are like down, roughly like getting right here, so about 2 more turns. So they are going to be directly behind you. Let me see who is because we will be doing a raid after this. This battle should go pretty quickly since there's not a whole lot of direct conflict or back and forth. It's really just clearing the stash and you getting the items and playing keep away with yourself. And another thing you can do is actually you can push this over to here so that kind of discourages them from doubling back on you. It does kind of keep them on your tail the whole time, but since the way is clear up to here, they can't push the block, so when you get it here, you're pretty free to like do whatever you need to pass here. And that's actually probably what we're going to do. So it'll be 1 more turn of waiting. Yeah, because I want them to not be able to get back here after 1 turn. Let me see. Actually, no, if we're going to do that, I can go this round. But just in case, that's why we have in-battle saves. Now you do want to be careful not to get too many people in the way of the box. Or put them in the way of getting hit with the spell. And then box lines up there, so you just need to get top side on it. And the spell kind of put me in position to get hit by the statue. But thankfully we don't have any armor classes, so it's not going to do too much damage. Excuse me. And they're going to double back. A couple of them are going to keep coming that way, but we're going to block off the ones doubling back. First, I'll use my person that's furthest to like take this statue out just to get rid of it. Take no more damage from that. And now they're blocked off from there. These guys can just make a break for the far side. I don't think I can hit from here. Yeah, because it's right behind the wall. I'll drop right. Heal on Clint on the way. And we're going to dash for this side. So then we come up with these two. Kick these blocks over to kind of stick them, the group of people right here. Because they're going to just, once we block it off, they're going to just kind of stay here until we loosen it up, and then we have time to come get this and this chest and this item. And that's why we heal Clint. Before I forget, thank you for following for Celila, Scubby, Dark Inferno, Artemis, Tipper, PS9, and Abandon. Appreciate you guys following. I don't have alerts for those yet, so I have to remind myself to read that. I know, Saki, I know. I know if there was a trash summoning, you'd probably be hitting it right now. Or you'd be giving me that that face. actually. Let me see if I can. Can I get close enough here? Piercing Ray? I can. So at least Diego's not taking 2 hits, where you'd only take 1. So again, we're gonna rush up here. And we're gonna heal clip. That'll be nice. I don't know if I'll be doing anything with like emotes though. Yep, I can get hit. But at least it takes way less damage, or less damage than Clint, not necessarily way less damage. But we need to, again, kind of like rush to make a move. So I think like the first few times I played this, I took the battle really slowly, and it kind of, you know, it kind of like in one way encourages you to take it slowly to think about it, like it also discourages it. And I have a lady here just in case they get a little too close in this maneuver, so I can start casting Spellbind on them and paralyze them where they are. How much magic do I have? I can't go Diego anyways. Because what I'm going to do is have Diego come over. He should be able to get on the back side of the boxes. Have him push 1 this way. Like I said, push that 1 this way and then push it over. I mean, it's a pretty enjoyable game. It doesn't get too like heady. So yeah, we're gonna have to cast Spellbind. But we need to move Huxley to see exactly how far they can move. Let's have Clint come and get this. And that is the other good thing. If you pick up something that goes to the wagon, I forgot about that too. And we might be able to get away without needing to use Spellbind, depending on our maneuvers, but let's see. I can get rid of this one so I don't have to worry about getting sniped. So I'm gonna have to use a Spellbind, I believe, because yeah, he can make it up here. far can he go? Let's see. Oh, nope, don't want to do that. So good thing is he will not move next turn. This guy, he'll be able to get up here, which kind of sucks, but I'll be able to spellbind him too and move this out the way, and then these other guys will all be up here so we can make a dash for these items. And I can still push the other block into the way of the one that's right on my tail to kind of slow him down. If you enjoy Yosaki, I actually would highly recommend playing the game, especially if you want to like consider playing Final Fantasy Tactics and then get more of the story of like the world that Final Fantasy XIV is set in. Like this is kind of a good way to introduce yourself to like how the game works. Push this yet? I need one push that. Just to slow down that other dude a little bit. No, sorry, I was saying if you want to learn to play like tactics games, this is a good place to introduce yourself to. Because Final Fantasy 14 is set in Evil East, and that's where Tactics is. So if you don't want to do Tactics right away, Final Fantasy Tactics that is. And if need be, I can cast Spellbind again on this dude, but I don't think I'll need to. Because they should all be other like right there. Close. he can put himself right in the mix of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold and let Eleni come forward because she should have enough. She actually has enough to hit all these people with Spellbind. And you see they're already starting to come out of it behind us. Some villagers might have to get sacrificed, but I generally try to avoid that. Oh, both of them are out. Oh well, they're about to have to hold that thing. I don't think I can push this back. Oh, I can. Oh, we'll probably end up losing a couple villagers. But honestly, I do want to see what is in the chest. Alright, I know what's in the chest, but I can't remember if I need what's in the dirt patch. Oh, nice. She blocked. So, what, maybe 2 villagers lost? I like how he says this, like, they can't help but counterattack. So, and see, that is the one problem with archers, is that they cannot open chests. I don't think either of these can get to where we are, so we'll cast this and then we'll probably call it here. Oh, after we finish the battle, I mean. Shouldn't move there. And I'll cast a heal for the sake of using a heal. Alright, Saki, so who should I raid? It'd be better to block it the other way. You don't have any suggestions? And an herb, so I probably should have just ended the battle. I'll cast Spellbind just to get the experience, and I'll cast a heal just to get the experience, and then Ghost Pilot Z-Fan. I think. I did raid Z-Fan before. I want to heal. I have been sitting in DG's Discord watching soccer, so I guess I could probably raid him. So yeah, we will raid DG Medic. Let's see how much money we lost off that. Yeah. That's one thing, literally I can't remember specifically if there is a penalty besides the money for killing any of the villagers. Let me double check. I think we have another little bit of story, and then we'll be able to finish it. Thank you for saving us. What happened to you guys anyway? It all started 3 months ago. It started when soldiers came from the mainland to do an investigation. You probably have an old man voice. That must have been Magnus. Yes, that was his name, Magnus. You said they came to investigate? Yes, the ruins of a fortress. But we never go near it. Why is that? There are many scary legends about the ruins. Some say they can see flickering lights or hear strange wailing. When Magnus told us why he had come, we tried to convince him not to go. And he just laughed at all of our warnings. A few weeks went by as usual, and then one night, Mayor, monsters, a whole bunch of them. What are you talking about? What in hell's name are you? You. I know you. Damn, that's a face. I'll tell you what, Saki, if I go for affiliate, I'll make an emote just out of that face. And you don't remember anything after that? That's right. And yet, I'm certain that it was Magnus that did this to us. It seems hard to believe, and yet, we have to go to the ruins to check things out. I know it's dangerous, but there's no other way. That again, huh? Alright, let's see. Alright, we need to have the young man so we can get an item for this. Sorry, I'm kind of reading fast, so I'm not really thinking about it. So those royals were a corrupt bunch, alright. And yet they were of the Asha dynasty, children of Toroa the Messiah. Perhaps one day we'll all be punished for overthrowing them. I found this weird fruit the other day, and then I dropped it while running away from a monster. That was right next to that cross-shaped poisonous swamp. So this is actually an item that you can pick up. So we'll do a save in back in here, just in case. And I can show that if you go to the dojo, do I have the key equipped? No, it's probably in the item cart. So without the key, you see I was able to just go in and out. But if I put this on Ash, and then I go to the dojo and try to leave again, now he notices the key. And I can do the trial. You can do the trials at any time, so you don't have to do them as soon as you get a key for it. And it's usually recommended to wait a bit till you get a more fleshed out party, just so you're not making it too difficult on yourself, because you really don't get anything monetarily from the fights. But you see, there's a whole bunch of new items in store that I will look at getting next time. So next time it'll be more talk about whatever financial or economic topic seems interesting, and we're going to outfit the party and then head into the ruins. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for the follows. Thank you, Ark, for the raid, and Saki for all the advice. And let me see. Yeah, I think I raid DG since I did raid G-Fan. I think. No, I'm not even keeping track of that. Maybe I should. You too, Saki. I hope you enjoy the game. I hope you go to the game. Type in the raid recipient in chat, since I know that mobile tends to have some kind of issue when people get left behind. So if you want to go check that out, he is playing, quote unquote, playing Dragon Age Origins. So we'll pop over and see how they're doing, and then talk shop, talk soccer with them. Thanks again for stopping in, everybody. I really do appreciate the feedback on all these test streams that I'm doing. Yes, I will be looking to go get a chair soon, so that'll be on the list. Well, soon is a relative term. I should say that. Thank you, Saki, for the link. I appreciate it. You guys have a good afternoon, or evening, I should say, or both. And enjoy your Thanksgiving, if you celebrate it tomorrow. Oh, did I wait too long? I waited too long. I waited too long to raid. Let's try that again. Yeah, I get enough.